Thank you so much for being here. I would like to introduce myself. Well, as you already know, my real name is Alessandro Giuseppe Carlucci. So it's not really a Brazilian name. I was born in Brazil, but my parents are Italian. I have 3 children, 1 wife, and it's important to say 1 wife, my lovely wife. I've been working, I worked for Natura for 25 years, the last 10 as the CEO, and then 3 years ago I decided to change my life. I decided to move to US. I decided to try to see the world in a different perspective. I decided to spend a little more time for my family. For the first time, I had the opportunity to help my son to find a school in US. So a few things in life that make sense and make us feel more alive. So, and I was very glad and lucky to be invited to be in this position of BSR. So I'm very happy to be with you. I'm very happy to serve this amazing organization. And now that you know me, I will step down here. And I would like to know you a little bit more. So, few questions. And it's impossible to know each one of you individually, at least now. Maybe at the end of the conference we can know each other better. But I would like to know who is coming from the San Francisco Bay Area. Please raise your hand. So from all of you, I would like to really thank you for receiving this conference in this amazing place. This really beautiful city, this really beautiful environment that certainly is helping us to be more innovative, to really create new things in this conference. So thank you so much for receiving us in this really amazing place. Now, who is coming from foreigners' country? Wow. So for all of you, thank you so much for a long trip. I met a lady at the elevator that said to me that was coming from Australia. And so I suppose that a lot of you are flying several hours to come here. So I'm very happy to receive, we are very happy to receive all of you in this space. And I'm sure that you are going to enjoy all our conference. And just to finalize, even though Aaron gave us already the number, who here work for a company that is a BSR member? So for all of you, thank you so much for all your support. You're one of the reasons of being of this organization. We are here also mostly to serve you and to learn from you. So please help us to do this conference even better, you know, changing experience and convincing your partner in the table that didn't raise the hand, how nice it is to be a BSR member. And I'm sure after this conference, and Aaron already shared with you how amazing things we are going to have more people join this amazing organization. So anyway, thank you all of you. I'm sure that we are going to have a great event. And now I'm going to ask Mary Kay to come here to the formal part of our conversation. So please welcome Mary Kay.
So I thought we'd start by talking a little bit about your time at Natura.
Okay.
So you joined when you were 23. You spent 15 years working in different departments before you became CEO. And then you worked to make Natura one of the most sustainable companies in the world, while also quadrupling its net income, showing that you could do well by doing good. What were the biggest challenges in transforming Natura into that kind of company?
Well, first of all, thank you for the words that Natura is one of the most sustainable companies in the world. I cannot say that. What I can say is that Natura is committed to be a sustainable company. But by saying that, I think that the most important challenge is try to be coherent and consistent and resilient during the time. during all the journey, because as I said this afternoon, to run a sustainable business is a journey, is not a final destination. You are never there. Every day you realize that you can decrease the environmental impact, you can increase the social impact that you are producing, the economical one. So it's a journey, it's not a final destination. And for me, the most important challenge is to be consistent during the time.
But to drill down a little bit, Aaron was talking about resilience at different levels. Certainly one of the challenges you would face with Natura, which was trying to source many of its ingredients from natural sources. Sometimes that can have a negative impact on a community if you're just extracting. So how did you try to find the right balance with the communities that were impacted by the work you were doing?
Well, this is also a long process, but the fast answer is trying to have a transparent and fluent communication with the communities. In other words, call them to participate in the process. That it's not easy, to be really honest. It's much easier to call a big supplier and to order a ton of a specific ingredient, and you know the quality, you know that they are going to deliver on time, you know the cost. And when you decide to change from a big supplier to thousands of local communities that they don't have necessarily the same quality, sometimes they cannot extract the seeds because it's raining or because it's too hot, and sometimes the quality is not the right one. It's a challenging process, but the way to try to produce good impact is to call them to participate and to have a dialogue. And to be honest, we had tough times because it's not easy to dialogue with a local community that has a totally different perspective about the supply chain process. No? So
how so? What's an example of?
Well, there are several ones and nice stories, but I need to be concise, as you said. You know, well, one, I'm briefly mentioning it, that we were waiting a castanha supply, and then we realized that one of the local communities, the most important one that was extracting the Brazilian nuts, is the castanha do Brasil, they were a little lazy. They decided that they were tired and that was not a good week to extract the castanha. And that's it. You cannot do anything. You know, you can't even call them because there are no telephones there. Mm-hmm. And in some way you need to understand their perspective, you know. They decided that it was not a good time to work, so that's it. So this is the challenge, and you need to understand the easy way to answer that is let's cut this community and let's try to buy from another one. But instead of that, you need to bring them, say why you decided not to work, what can we do to motivate you to do better, you know? So this is a good example of how can you really do business in a different way, but recognizing that you don't have all the answers. You need to learn from the other part also.
Yeah. So you've said, you're on the record saying that you think that the idea of the purpose of a business is to make a positive difference in the world. Now, there are certainly shareholders who would say, no, the purpose of your business is to make money for me. And yet when Natura, when it had some $2 billion in annual revenue, became a B Corp, its shareholders voted to approve amended articles of incorporation that reaffirmed the company's commitment to social and ecological responsibility, even though possibly that could mean fewer profits for them. So how did that happen? And what lessons do you think there are in that experience that could apply to other companies in America and beyond?
Well, good question. First of all, let me explain. Natura is a public and listed company, but Natura has a controlling shareholder group. So who decided to those things were the shareholders, the controlling group. And the second thing, we believe at that time, and still believe, that to be a sustainable business includes the economic generation, value generation. Is not to be sustainable in the social and environment, and on the other side, make money. It's all together. So when we decided to become a B Corp, in our mind was, we are going to make money, yes, being sustainable. So the way we try to think is in a more integrated way. And again, it's a challenge, it's a journey. We did several mistakes, and we will not have time to tell you just a part of them. But the most important is that we always thought that the only way to become a sustainable business is generating also a good income, because this is the best way to prove that makes sense. Because if you're generating profit, means that you are doing the right thing. Not only profit, but profit, social value, and economic and environmental value.
So you were able to show your shareholders, look, you are making money. You're making a decent return.
Sure.
And you can feel good because you're making a decent return while we're being socially responsible and sustainable.
Yeah, I like to use a phrase that being a sustainable business, it's good for the soul, it's good for the heart, and it's good for the bottom line. So for all these three things, you can really have a more integrated business generating a more holistic value.
How is sustainability viewed in Brazil compared to what you've seen so far here in the US? I mean, do people put more value on it at the personal level, at the investment level, and also in terms of public policy?
Well, let me share some thoughts. The first thing regarding the population, I think that in Brazil, because we have the Amazon, even though Amazon is very far from some places in Brazil, but belongs to the country, and there is a deforestation, a huge deforestation in the Amazon. I think that people is becoming more aware about the relevance of taking care of the ecological systems. So in this perspective, I think that Brazil is paying more attention to that, even though in US, you did already something before. You have parks, you have conservation. In Brazil, we don't have so many of those things. So we are more in a risk situation. Regarding the policies, well, I don't know so much the policies in US. But I know that there aren't so many good examples in the world regarding sustainability policies, governmental sustainability policies, because they are difficult to debate, they are difficult to approve. And in Brazil especially, there is a huge fight, probably not only in Brazil, you are going to recognize this also here, that should we protect the forest or should we push the economy? So do we need to build new power plants, carbon or fuel powered or hydroelectric ones? And there is this debate all the time, because also a country needs to grow economically speaking. So I don't know which country is doing better. I think, to be honest, few countries in the world are good examples on governmental policies regarding sustainability.
I know one argument that businesses often come up with is, well, look, we've got to compete. I mean, if we, spend all this money trying to be sustainable, we'll be left in the dust by our competitors. Now, you said that you think that looking at business as a competition is medieval. Why do you think so?
Well, I think, first of all, I think that the way to do business in a sustainable way is integrating sustainability in your core business, producing innovation, transforming your business model, and becoming a more competitive organization because of that. So I really believe that sustainability is a leverage to generate value in a broad sense for all the organizations. And I think that when we think about competition, typically we think in the medieval way that we need to destroy the other part, you know? So we need to beat the other. And I think that this is, for me, does not make sense in a world that needs collaboration. Of course, we compete, but I don't need to destroy you, you know? We need to find different places where we can do business and try to have a more collaboration among companies, among countries, among people. I really think that the challenges that we have ahead needs a diversified kind of people working together in a complementary way to solve some of the huge challenges that we have ahead.
Yeah. So under your leadership, Natura made a pledge that it would not use products that in any way harmed the environment, that sourcing the components of the products wouldn't hurt the environment. But I know certainly from my time in China that controlling your supply chain is no easy thing, particularly if you have subcontractors. So how did you deal with that to ensure that at no point along your supply chain was the environment being harmed?
Well, first of all, I think that when you take a decision to reach a goal, like we are not going to do animal testing anymore, just as an example, I think that it's important to recognize in which situation you are now. So let me give you this example. We took a decision to ban animal testing in our company, in my former company, 15 years ago. But we were not ready at that time. So we said, look, we decided not to do it, and we are going to decrease the testings in animals for the next 5 years and then ban. So because today we are not ready to do it. So let's be transparent and say we are going to be like this in 5 years ahead. And then we invited all the suppliers, because in the case of animal testing, there are some companies that outsource the animal testing, so they don't do by themselves, but their suppliers do. And we decided we don't want to do that. So we invited the suppliers saying, look, we need to prepare ourselves in 5 years ahead to ban the animal testing. So this was the way to do it. Being transparent, recognize that you are not doing well yet, but you have this goal and you want to reach it with the support of all your supply chain. So, and just something else to add. China is a very important market for everybody. And in China, you have the obligation to do animal testings. So to sell a cosmetic in China, the government requires you to do animal testing. So we decided that we were not going to do business in China. You know, so that is a tough decision. But if you really don't believe that animal testing belongs to your brand, to your culture, to the way that you think, this is the consequence to try to be consistent during the time.
So a question on your leadership style when you were at Natura. You made a point of testing all the products, of reading women's magazines, of really trying to understand your customers, women, and also your sales force, which was also women. And in addition to that, and I'm going to put these two things together, before you joined Natura, you did some time as a DJ. And it occurs to me that it takes some specific skills to be a DJ. You need to be able to take disparate sounds and voices and bring them together in an interesting way. You need to, be able to connect with people, to be able to read a crowd, to be able to bring people together, get them to move, get them excited. How did all of these things translate in your leadership style at Natura?
Wow. Let me think for a while. Well, it's important to explain that Natura is a direct selling company. It's a company that sells through people, like Avon, like Amway. And when I left Natura, we had 1,500,000 people reselling the product, and most of them are women. So yes, I learned how to deal with huge population, if I can say like that. Mostly women, and it's very easy to do it, to be really candid with you, because and the man's here, excuse for a while, but I really believe that this world needs more women in leadership. The world is not only the companies, but the world, because we need also men, but in the last 100 years, this world had a lot of challenges, take risking, let's do it, we can, things that belongs to the male soul. And I think that the world needs more nowadays, more balance, bringing the care, the holistic point of view that women can bring to this planet. And that's why for me it was very easy to work with a female population, because a female population is really worried about the other, is really worried about what is the impact of the things we are doing. And I think I adapted my style of leadership to have very open conversation and to recognize that there is also always someone in the other side, and try to invite the other one to participate. And this belongs more to the women's side of thinking that from the men's side.
Yeah.
But the DJ is another story. One day, Aaron, if you have a party at night, I can show you my abilities in the DJ. Unfortunately, we don't have a party in this event, but maybe next year we can have it one. And then I will show you my ability. I hope so.
So now, after spending most of your adult life at Natura, you've become the new chairman at BSR, bringing your leadership style with you. What made you decide to make the move? And what do you hope to see BSR do while you're chairman, particularly as related to sustainability and resilience?
Well, as I said, I was very lucky and I'm very proud to be in this position because, well, first of all, BSR is, an incredible organization. It's a global organization, inspiring purpose, amazing people, and totally more than committed with sustainability. The BSR purpose is to help companies to do a more sustainable business. So when I received the invitation, would you like to participate in the process? I said, oh, yes, yes, it makes a lot of sense for me to be part of this great organization, to learn, because in some way for me, it's look for the same, most of the same issues, but from the other side of the table. Instead of the business perspective, it's from a non-profit organization perspective, but helping businesses. So for me, it was really easy and fast to say, yes, I want to participate in the process. And I was very happy when I received the call saying, look, you were elected the chairman of BSR. And I only can say that I really hope that I can keep helping this organization to help the member companies and also other new companies to do a better business. So I'm very happy and very proud to be in this position. So thank you, BSR team, to welcome me.
And we have a few minutes for questions. So if anyone would like to ask, go ahead and raise your hands and we'll get a mic to you. Anyone? Okay,
Please, guys.
Oh, there's someone over here.
The Australian girl that I met in the elevator. I see you. Thinking a question.
As a DJ, what song would you use to summarize sustainability and the approach we need?
Wow. What music? Well, Animal, Maroon 5. Yeah. Do you know that music? No? Oh, no, I will not sing. But it's a good question. Let me think. Next year I will answer this.
Anyone else? Over here.
So Brazil is going through a difficult period of economic period right now, and I wonder how you think that affects Brazilian companies' ability to pursue their sustainability. I mean, these are new challenges for lots of companies. How is Natura facing these challenges?
Well, as I mentioned, I left Natura 1 year ago, so I don't have inside information recently. But unfortunately, I think that the economic situation is going to affect some of the sustainability programs on Brazilian companies. I wish not, but I think it will impact. Again, for those companies that really believe that sustainability is a driver to generate value, as Natura, I think is not going to impact the programs. But I think that most of companies are still thinking about sustainability not as a driver to generate value, but a way to manage risk, a way to be prepared for something maybe bad that can happen. So in this case, I think that the situation is going to impact some companies over there. And the situation is very difficult, and probably for some years. But I'm going to say something, not because I moved to US, but I think that is something good. You know, when you have something that is not working, it's better to open the box and to show and to clean everything. It's a hard and painful process, but there is a chance, if you do in the right way, to start again in a better way, in a new way. And I think that Brazil maybe has this opportunity. If we can go deep as is needed to really start again some things, especially in the ethical aspects. So I think that this bad moment could be a very good moment in the Brazilian history. Even though it's a bad time for Brazilian companies, Brazilian people, but sometimes, most of all, when you want to live a better moment, you need to have some tough moments before. And I think that this is what Brazil is living.
One more question.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for your comments. And for me, I would just like to ask, you know, in the U.S., the enabling environment for sustainable business has so much momentum. There are, you know, communities of practice that support it. There's regulations that support it. There's consumer demand for it. On the other hand, companies like Natura that are marketing to a consumer base in emerging economies, the fact that Natura has been a leader in sustainability in emerging markets is really unique. And there's so much room for improvement in sustainable business for companies operating in emerging markets still. So what lessons do you think Natura could provide to businesses operating outside of the US in terms of how to build a sustainable model?
Well, thank you for asking that. Again, Natura did and is doing nice things, but again, we also did bad things. So I'm glad to hear that you think we are an example. And what lessons? I think that one of the ways to think is, where are you from? Depending where are you from, you can try to leverage the differentiation in your country, in your region, related with sustainability. Let me tell you a part of Natura history. 15 years ago, we realized that we will have a problem to compete with big organizations in the cosmetic industry, because the amount of money that we had to invest in research was 50 times smaller than the big organizations in our industry. And we said, we are not going to be able to find the molecule that rejuvenates your skin. And sorry, this molecule does not exist, as you know. But sometimes they pretend that to exist, you know? But anyway, we were obsessed with this molecule. We need to find a way, and we don't have money enough. We are competing with companies, again, with a budget 50 times bigger than ours in innovation, in research. So we decided to do a roadshow and to visit these big organizations to see if some of them were open to do a joint venture with us. Well, after a month visiting all of them, almost all of them, we realized, look, they don't want to do a joint venture, they want to buy the company. And the shareholders at that moment, they didn't want to sell. So we're not here to sell the company, we are here to see if you like our brand and we can do a joint venture in research and blah, blah, blah. But one of them, and I cannot reveal the name, it's a very important one. When we were saying about the molecule with an innovation senior global worldwide vice president, you know, a very big guy in that organization, he asked us, do you really need that molecule? And then we came back and said, well, nobody wants to do the joint venture. And that guy asked us, do we really need? And then we start a reflection. Well, our name is Natura. We are from Brazil. So maybe there is an opportunity to be the company that knows how to extract natural ingredients from the Amazon and transform this in good cosmetics in a sustainable way. And then we started to invest a lot, the money that we had only on that thing. And probably we became one of the companies in the world of the cosmetic industry that knows how to do it. So this is a good example that any company can do, that try to look for your roots and where are you from, and try to see how can you leverage the assets that you have, your name, the country that you are, you know, the shareholders that you have, the stakeholders, wherever. And that's what we did. And at the end, we didn't need really the molecule. And that guy was very illuminated when he asked us, do you really need? And because of that, we decided to invest all our research money, understanding how to extract Brazilian ingredients from the forest in a sustainable way.
That's all we have time for. Alessandro Carlucci, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and have a good conference.